I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co.
I'm Professor Meg.
And today we're reviewing Panda Spin from Moongate Design, designed by Carl Schuduk. Oh yes, that's funny. That's funny. I see what you're doing there. This is a game about... We can have the box back.
I just thought about
We can have the box back. We don't need it.
I was like, I should have
Okay, well now we don't have the box. So, Panda Spin is basically a hand shedding game. So, under the genre of trick taking, but you're shedding your cards. That's the general idea. There's two main ways to score points in this game. The first is certain cards when you play them will give you points. The second way is that once you get rid of all your cards, there's going to be points you earn based off of people who have more cards left in their hands. We're going to go ahead and show you a few basic hands over here just by playing it out and talking you through the rules, and then of course giving you our thoughts on it. We're not doing a full play here. We're just doing a few things here. So Meg, do you want to start us off?
Oh, sure. Let's start off with...
Again, remember the goal is to try to clear your hand.
Thanks, Alex.
I'm telling them, not you.
Okay,
know
okay.
them. I'm telling them. So when I tell some additional rules, it makes sense.
We're going to just start off with a 4.
Meg started with a 4. Now, a big thing about this particular game there's two things about this particular game. One is you'll notice there's two sides to the cards. Right now, she's playing this side because that's how all cards start. They start with their white side, and you can upgrade them to their blue side by losing. That's how you upgrade them. The second thing is that in many shedding games, you can escalate the amount of cards you play. So if Meg plays a 4, I can play 2 4s. Can't do that in this game. However many cards you play, the other players can only play that number of cards, with the exception of bombs. So, to that end, I'm going to go ahead and play a card that is higher than a 4. Let's go ahead and grab from my hand. Not that one, not that one. Honestly, not that one either, that one. We're going to go ahead and grab a queen, and I'm going to beat Meg's 4 with my queen. Meg, are you going to escalate it, or not so much?
Not so much.
Not so much, which means I've now won the trick, so to speak, but Meg, as the person who lost the trick, gets to take her card and spin it in her hand. So she now gets the stronger version, and it goes back to her hand.
And now you can kind of tell as well in my hand, you can keep track of like what type of cards players have, because you can kind of guess to me.
You do see the spin.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and start with the next trick, and I'm going to go ahead.
Spin.
I'm going to go ahead and start with a very high run over here, because I have a 9-10 Jack Queen King. So that's a 5-card straight, which is another set you can play. There's 4 basic sets you can play: a single, a straight of a run, however many you want. You can play sets, so multiple 2 2s, 2 3s, 4 4s, stuff like that, whatever you want. Or you can also play combos, which are runs and sets. So 2 9s and 2 10s would be a combo run set. So I've got 5 of a kind, Meg. Can you beat that?
Well, Alex, one other thing which I don't think you've said is if any of these had been blue,
Ooh.
Alex just gets to discard them. So that's like a smart thing to do, is to put blue cards into your...
To clarify that, if you lose a trick and you have any cards in the trick that are blue, all the cards are gone. You don't get them back.
Now, I'm not able to beat this straight with my own straight.
Ooh.
And I also do not have a bomb, which is 4 of a kind.
Do you have a special?
However, Alex didn't name the third kind of cards, which are going to be the elements. So I have this water here, which is going to allow me to win a trick with no bomb in it. If the highest bid has at least 3 values, then draw 2 cards.
Ooh, so I'm going to get all these back reversed into my hand. So I have a whole lot of reversing now, which is going to give me a stronger sets over here. But Meg wins the trick at the cost of drawing 2 cards. It's worth noting, those spirits, you can actually discard them at the end of a trick without using them. At any point, you can go ahead and discard them, so you're not locked into the spirits themselves. They're good for you, they'll help you, and if they don't help you, you can just get rid of them. That's the base. Oh, go ahead. Keep going. Let's go.
Sorry. I was then going to play both of these because this will now show that I'm activating this bamboo symbol. So when you play cards that have certain symbols, you'll get to do the ability. So for the bamboo, you would gain a point, and if it's the panda symbol, it will...
Well, it depends on what the panda is. So this over here, there's 2 sides to the panda. Either you get to spin a card in your hand, or you get to steal a point from your opponent. Alright, in that case, I'll show you the last kind of set, because we haven't actually seen it. By spinning my cards, I unlocked these double 10s, and 4 of a kind is a bomb, which can only be beaten by a higher bomb. So I'm going to beat those, but because Meg has a blue, I assume I'm beating them. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Because Meg has a blue in it, she'll still discard her cards. That's the basic idea of the game. It plays better at higher player counts, which I guess we'll cover in the review part. But
Can
the
I
basic
just say,
idea...
Alex?
Absolutely.
You dealt me
All the spirits?
Yeah. I had all of them in
That's
my hand.
funny.
I was like, let anything happen.
Wait, you have... How many spirits do you have? That was a mistake because
they shouldn't all be in
we
there.
shouldn't have there.
Yeah, you're right.
Long story short, there's a different number. There's 5 different suits depending on the player count. You have a different number of suits. Meg shouldn't be
There's
able to
an extra in
have
there.
4 spirits. Anyways, that's on me. So, that's the basic idea of the game. It's a hand-shedding game where you're trying to spin your cards. The whole hook of it is spinning your cards, which I guess is a good time to segue into the review. Meg, what do you like about the game?
So the thing I like the most about this game, which is the strongest point of like the core mechanics of it, is that spinning mechanic. And I like it in the specific sense that normally in games like this, you might play like your highest run or something like that right at the beginning. And instead in this game, it's very clever that you see what cards can spin into others to create those bombs or even like larger runs for yourself. And even like I said, getting that one blue card in once you do have a run can be so strong to just get rid of all of them. So I think the strategy of playing fewer cards in the beginning, trying to get them spun, is just very, very fun to try to figure out how you can balance out your hand. And then, even when you think you're doing something very, very smart, I do think like the elements and stuff really, really can, all of a sudden just take a win away from someone. So I think that it requires a lot of planning. It can be really clever, but you can also be stopped.
Yeah, I very much agree with that. The entire hook is the spinning, and it works so well. Like, it's very rare with trick-taking games, shedding games, where I walk in hoping to lose certain rounds and planning around that. Like, I start the game, I analyze my hand, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to win those, but that means I also want to lose those to set myself up to win those. The amount of times I've played a hand of cards, I'm like, hey, here's a pair, hope someone beats that. And then no one does, and I'm like, well, that ruined my entire structured play that I had going for myself. There's a lot of planning around the spinning in the game. There's a lot of planning. And it's not a perfect game. Like any trick-taking game, you don't know what's going to come at your way. You don't know when someone's going to bomb you or have an element. You don't know the things that are going to happen. But I plan the losses as much as I plan the wins, trying to work my way into that arc of timing everything, of seeing how many cards are you down to before I start escalating into certain patterns, but hoping to play it out. So it has all the general upsides that a typical shedding game has in the strategy of trying to plan your hand, but the spin really gives me something that I haven't seen in other games that changes the way I play it to change up the experience. It changed up the experience I have with it.
And another thing, which I'm sure you guys have noticed, but if you haven't, these cards are foiled, and they're just absolutely beautiful. Like, the art of this, I just think is so special that all of the numbers, I think it's each number has its own animal, and some of them are just so cute. Like, look at this guy. So it is just really, really beautifully done.
It is worth noting that this is the deluxe version of the game with the foil. The foil's not on everything, as well as these tokens. These are like the wooden tokens, so this is the nicer version of the game. But the other version is still nice, just without that little extra foil and wooden tokens.
Same mechanics.
Anything else you like?
I think that's generally it.
As far as things I don't like in the game, for me, there's not a lot that I don't like. I think the main thing really is once you get that one concept of the game is doing, it's just that one puzzle. There's not a ton of other things happening here, so the variability of the type of experience it is a little on the lower side. Don't get me wrong, different suits have small different abilities, like when you're flipping cards, some suits have like fire elements, or that's not necessarily in every suit, so you don't necessarily always see them. So there's a small amount of variety, especially if you're playing at a lower player count, but I think the basic hook of the game works really well, but outside of that, it's a shedding game that has one really good hook, and that's kind of what the experience is for me.
Yeah, I think that for me, I don't have too many things I don't like about it. I generally have a very great time playing this, and I do also appreciate the player count for it. That I just think it's like a very quickly set up, it is very fast paced, that I think it's very satisfying to be able to play. But that being said, I don't really have negatives about it, but it is just a shedding game, so it is what you see in front of you. It's numbers and suits and things like that, where I don't think it does anything wrong, but I do wish, there was maybe like expansions of like ability cards or something, like something a little...
Although you did remind me, you mentioned player count. I do think 2-player is a weaker experience. I've played this at a variety of player counts at this point, and I think 2 players is still fine, but I'd pull this out at 3+. As far as final thoughts on this one, for me, Panda Spin is very good at what it's trying to do, but what it's trying to do is one thing. This is an easy game to kind of throw into my roster of shedding games. I think it adds something very unique that other shedding games I have don't do, but again, it kind of feels like when I want that little experience about min-maxing the wins as much as the losses, this gives me a different take on the shedding experience, but again, it is that one-note pony. So for me, it's coming in at a 3.5 out of 5.
For me, I'm rating this at a 4.0. I think that for a shedding game, for a card game, and, it's not trick-taking, but in my mind, it's like adjacent, or it's a card game that you can kind of take anywhere. For me, I think this is one that I really enjoy, and I think I would want to take it around to like airports and conventions and traveling and things like that. It's reminiscent to me of, and I'm sorry because this is me now going off the fly, but it's reminiscent to me of, what's the game it's like a green box and it's numbers and you're trying to like get your number to come back around to you.
A green box, and you want your number to come back around to you.
Yeah, then goes like up to number 12. Everyone's screaming it in the comments right now. It goes numbers like 1 to 12, and you're trying to like have people. I think you're trying to like have the same sets or something.
Oh.
Anyway, I think this is a much more satisfying version of that, with like a lot more strategy, and you're a lot more engaged. That I think of that as like a group game where I've played.
That's the one where you're trying to build onto other people's numbers. Oh, I know this one.
Like people say like a 2 train. I don't know.
I know what you're talking
about.
This is gonna bother me too, but I know exactly what game she's talking about.
The only thing I can think is Flip 7, and it's not.
It's
Flip
not.
7.
It's like Finland 7 or something like that. It's some other game. Anyways, yeah, the comments got it.
But yeah, this game to me is what is a very satisfying experience of something like that. That if you have a group of friends and you want to be playing something that is just fast-paced, clever, strategic, I really enjoyed it.
Speaking of other games that this time hopefully around we can remember, my recommendation is going to be checking out Sears Catalog. Sears Catalog from Bezier Games. Fantastic shedding game. I think it has a lot of fun little things going on about it. I definitely recommend checking it out if you like shedding experiences.
And mine is going to be Hanamikoji. So that one is a 2-player game. It's not really the same, but I think that the strategy behind it and the thought of what you choose to give and when you use different things, again, it's very different where you're playing these different cards and you're choosing which abilities of how you're going to pass them to try to get control over different areas. But I do think it's just it's a similar feel that you feel very strategic and clever, but also pretty quick to set up, pretty simple card game.
And with that, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
I'm Professor Mag.
And have a good one.
Bye.
Fuji Flush.
Fuji Flush.
Fuji Flush?
You said Fuji.
Fuji Flush. Fuji Flush. Fuji Flush. Check it out. Check it out.
Unless you screamed it already.
Fuji Flush!